It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
the Mixed Martial Arts Hour back in your life on this Monday, January 11th, 2016. Hello again, everyone. I'm Mario Halwani inside our New York City studio. So great to be back here for another show. Remember back in late July, following UFC on Fox number 16, I said that my most anticipated fight of the next few months was, without a doubt, TJ Dillashaw versus Dominick Cruz. And I didn't want to fully get invested and excited about this fight because, let's be honest, A, a lot of fights fall through. B, we were dealing with a fighter who's had a history of injury problems. It just felt too good to be true. Then the UFC books it on the East Coast, which is great. I'll get to that in a second. They book it in that slot that Conor McGregor and Dennis Siver occupied last year after the NFL playoffs. Got a huge rating on FS1, Sunday night show. They booked this sort of title unification bout for early January, and I have been counting down the weeks for that fight. To me, it doesn't get any better than this. And back then, we didn't know about the new storyline, the new layer to this fight, which involves TJ leaving Team Alpha Male. Faber coming off a win now, just chilling on the sidelines, waiting for who's next. In my opinion, this is a win-win situation for the UFC. You can either get TJ versus Faber, teacher versus student, or the trilogy between Cruz and Faber. You can't lose. Huge platform for two of the best who don't usually get a big push, and in particular that division. It's all happening 6 days from right now. That's what I'm getting at. We are finally here. We're in the stretch drive. UFC Boston, Cruz Dillashaw for the undisputed UFC bantamweight title. It's happening this Sunday. It's a great card. Pettis Alvarez, it has, for the most part, remained intact. I know some things have happened over the past couple of days, but the big fights are all there, and that is very exciting. Now, we are coming off a rather quiet weekend in the world of MMA as far as fights are concerned. A lot of news out there, and we'll get to that later in the show, 197 and Diaz brothers and all that stuff. It will all be discussed. But as far as fights, it was quiet. This weekend, that's not the case. We've got Invicta on Saturday. We've got the UFC on Sunday. And that reminds me, it's great that it's a big fight that we've been waiting for. It's great that it's on the East Coast. The only gripe, if I can complain, is that it's happening on Sunday. And as you know by now, when a fight happens on Sunday, that means we are delayed by a day. So next week, the MMA Hour will not be on Monday because I'll be traveling home. It will actually be on Tuesday. Yes, that's right, Tuesday, because we need to regroup, gather ourselves, digest what happened Sunday, and this happened last year as well with the Conor McGregor-Dennis Siver fight. So make a note of it. Next week's show is actually going to be January 19th, Tuesday, January 19th, same time, same place, just 1 day later. That's next week. This week, though, there's a lot to get to. Great show, great lineup. I'm very much looking forward to it. Let's get to the lineup. Let's get to our first guest. At around 3:10, we're going to be joined by Donald Cerrone. I spoke to him briefly, as you may have heard last week on the show in Las Vegas. Oh, there goes my Bob Sapp CD. Down for the count, which is ironic because he's coming off a win. So something weird going on over there. But in his usual spot, down for the count, Bob Sapp over there to my left. Anyway, Donald Cerrone will be joining us. Of course, fighting Tim Means February 21st at 170, was docked some pay because he did not adhere to the Reebok policy. We'll talk to him at 3:10. Always a good time talking to Cowboy. The aforementioned Uriah Faber will be stopping by at 2:45. Ally Quinta will be stopping by at 2:25, coming off knee surgery. Looking forward to talking to him. Conor McGregor's striking coach and a legend of Irish MMA, Owen Roddy, will be stopping by. Rowdy Owen Roddy will be stopping by at 2:05 to talk about Conor, his own career, Irish MMA, all that good stuff and more. A lot of people looking forward to that, as am I. Chris Weidman will be stopping by in his first interview since his loss to Luke Rockhold at UFC 194. He jumps on at 145, and King Mo Lawal will be stopping by at 125 to talk about his win at the Ryzen tournament, where he goes from here. Does he really want Fedor? It's interesting. Last week, I believe, New York Rick ran down his list of guests that he wanted to hear from in 2016. I believe Quinta and Lawal were on that list. So whatever New York Rick asks for, he shall receive. And that's the case this week. Of course, as always, we'll hear from you later on in the show after the Donald Cerrone interview. And also we'll go inside the vault. I got a good one this week as well. But first, in my opinion, there was only one way that we can really start this week and this show with one particular guest. I mean, there was just one answer. And I really wanted to hear from Dominick Cruz's longtime coach and friend, Eric Del Fierro, as we prepare for Cruz's return after more than a year away from the third ACL injury, the win over Takeya Mizugaki, long road to get to UFC 178, then sideline again, and now here we are finally preparing for him to fight TJ Dillashaw to become the undisputed UFC bantamweight champion again. So now we are being joined on the phone by Eric Del Fierro. He's first up right here on the MMA Hour. Eric, how are you?
Good, Ariel. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A pleasure to have you on, and I know it's a big week for you, and I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this since July, since TJ beat Renan Barão in Chicago, and I want to ask you, it has been such a long road for Dominick to get to this point, to fight for the belt again, to regain what he never truly lost. He's still, in my opinion, part champion because no one beat him for the belt. But for you, someone who's been there with him through every step, all the highs and many lows, what's it like as we begin this week, as you guys are about to go to Boston? What's it like for you? Like, what are the emotions that you're dealing with right now?
We're just excited to be back in there, getting him back in there and him being healthy and just looking forward to him performing.
How healthy is he? I know it's never 100%, but is this as healthy as he's been, since he was champion and all that?
He's got no injuries right now, so that's the main thing. So, yeah, he's healthy. He's ready to go. We literally had a very good camp, no complaints, no injury to speak of. So that's a blessing in itself. So we're ready.
Do you recall when he was given that clean bill of health, like when he was 100%? Because I always feel like when it comes, when we're dealing with a big injury, part of the journey is just to get to 100%, and then you prepare for the fight. Do you remember when that shift happened?
No, I don't. I mean, honestly, the thing with an ACL and something that severe, you're never going to get 100% clearance from any doctor. In a sense, I mean, they're always super careful. They teach you they treat you like you're a 16-year-old, instead of a professional athlete. So, the rule of thumb is about 9 months to a year that ACL is supposedly 100% healed, and then obviously through that whole time you're building up the muscle back to what it was, and you should be able to perform at what you were before, according to the experts. Okay. I think we've probably become experts now.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, and that leads me to my next question. Because you guys have been down this road before, 3 ACL injuries, the groin injury, all that, were you doing, as his coach, did you do anything differently in this camp to not repeat the horrible history of the past?
No, I wish we had a way to pinpoint exactly how these injuries happen, and there isn't no specific thing. I mean, I couldn't tell you how they happen. I think they just come through wear and tear and the amount of stress Dominick put on his body through the years, and other than that, I really have no explanation for it. There's not one thing that I could tell you, he was wrestling or he was doing this or the other. There was nothing out of the ordinary, no specific technique that hurt him.
I feel though. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I feel like MMA training is slowly evolving. People are figuring things out, what's better for them. They don't have to spar as much. They don't have to put their body through hell. Have you changed at all the way, you want your athletes to train and prepare, and in particular one that has a history now of injuries?
No, the thing I would say with somebody that's had an injury like this, and I've had other athletes have the same type of injury, the hardest thing is overcoming that fear of, is my injury 100% now? Yeah. So the only way, for us as coaches to get him prepared or understand that his body is 100% is we got to put him through the grinder in a sense. He's got to simulate the fight. He's got to feel what he's going to feel in the fight and know that his body's not going to fail him in a sense. And so, he's performed. He's done what he's supposed to be doing, and his body's doing great.
As far as Dominick is concerned, was that a challenge? Did he need some time to get over that mental hurdle, or is he one of those guys that gets over it rather quickly?
How can I explain Dominick? Dominick has an obsessive personality.
Yes.
Meaning, and I think most successful people do. I think, all of us that have a chosen career path kind of obsess of what we do, and we don't really work on a time clock, including yourself, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's we don't have that 40-hour work week. I think Dominick's no different. I think Dominick pushes the envelope, and hence why he's had injuries, because he's trained so hard for fights. And I think once he felt that his knee was 100%, then he started testing it more and more and challenging it and making sure that there's nothing wrong with it.
I love that you brought up Dominick's personality, because I really think it's starting to come out in the public from his analyst work. And now he's starting to do some play-by-play. And his trash talking has just been out of this world. What he has done, as far as the build-up to this fight next to TJ has been nothing short of amazing and very entertaining. Does that translate into how he is in the gym? Because I feel like he's really turned the corner. He's putting himself out there. He doesn't care anymore. He's just, I mean, when he was on the show, it was probably the best interview of the year last year when TJ just, was coming off that win over Hennen. He was dropping bombs left and right. And I'm wondering if you've noticed a change, or is this just him changing as far as what we see in the gym? He's still the same guy.
I think it's a contrast of personalities that's showing this side of Dominick. This is the same Dominick that's always been there. I think the Dominick of Uriah Faber era was what we consider the bad guy. And in this situation, for whatever reason, he's the good guy. So I think the public perceptions, just changed a little bit over the years of what Dominick is, and him being more comfortable. And I think TJ is a little bit more quiet or conserved, and it's just a contrast of personalities is what we're seeing.
Sometimes in the media, we like to talk about fighters getting under their opponent's skin, getting in their head, and sometimes that just kind of feels like hyperbole, just something that we talk about. But if you look at the Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo fight, I mean, to me, it was very clear based off of what happened in the fight that Conor was in Jose's head. Do you believe that after all this, Dominick is in TJ's head?
I think it plays a factor. I think TJ's pretty confident in his skill that this isn't, that big of a factor. I think he's fought in the big spotlight before. I think the challenge for TJ is knowing that Dominick's coming off such a huge layoff, and everybody expects TJ to perform, where Dominick's got all the odds against him.
A lot of people seem to think that once Dominick left, TJ took his crown and almost, took what he was doing, modified it, made it his own, but took a lot of what Dominick was doing and what he did to become champion. And TJ will not subscribe to that notion. How do you feel about that? Because Dominick is very, very, he's very persuasive when talking about this, that he's sort of, how do you feel like TJ essentially copied what Dominick was doing?
I could, as a fan, I can appreciate TJ Dillashaw. When TJ first fought Barao, I'm one of the few guys that picked him to win, and I thought he was going to win it rather easily. And he's developed a good style over the years, and he's done great with it. So whether he copied Dominick or not, I mean, I think all these guys are martial artists. I think they all pick something up off of each other and every other athlete out there. And then there's every few years there's a guy or a female that revolutionizes the sport. And I think Dominick was one of those guys in the forefront of it for sure.
So like I said, you were there with Dominick every step of the way. Was there ever a point where you thought, I mean, this guy, luck isn't on his side. He's not going to realize his potential. He won't be able to cash in. Like, did you ever think after one injury or the other that unfortunately the stars just aren't aligning for him? Like, was there a point where you lost faith that it just wasn't going to work out for your friend Dominick Cruz?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not at all. And if you know Dominick Cruz, he wouldn't let you believe that either.
Wow.
And part of being a coach is riding the wave with these guys and helping them realize their dreams. And Dominick's just a different personality. You know what I mean? And he never once said, "I'm done."
Wow.
Sure, there's situations where he thought, "Man, I don't know if I can make it out of this one. I don't know if I should hang him up, this, that, whatever." And then he would take a step back. We would sit down, and at the end of the day, I mean, you got to love what you do, whether you're making money, whether you're chasing fame, whatever it is, whatever reason you're doing it for. These guys were competitors before the fame came with it, and Dominick just loves to compete. And he, by his own admission, said, my story doesn't stop here. And I'm a coach. I'm with you, man. You want to keep fighting, we keep fighting. You want to rehab, we keep rehab. I have no hesitation to sit here and train 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day with you till we're back in there. So, it's just a fun for me as a coach to be part of the story.
But even, like an ACL injury, as you mentioned, is not like really, I mean, it's one of the worst because you need such a long time to get back to 100%. And sometimes you don't. In other sports, you see guys come back from an ACL and they're never the same, let alone 3 ACLs and all the other stuff as well. Can you say right now that he is the same fighter as he was before that? I mean, obviously it's been a few years, but has this done any?
No, obviously things have changed through the years for sure.
Yeah.
And his style has evolved as well. The thing is, even through the injuries, the time off, he was training. So when people say, "Oh, he hasn't trained, he hasn't done anything," now this guy wasn't sitting on a park bench,
Right.
feeding pigeons. He's been training, and there's been limitations to what he was doing at that time, but he still kept evolving. His grappling got better, his wrestling got better, and there is probably certain moves that he doesn't do the same as he did before. So sure, I'm sure the things have changed through his style. Where the kid's had, I think, 2 or 3 broken hands, elbow injuries, shoulder injuries, broken ribs, you name it, he's had it. So, yeah, he's had to adjust and change his style to, progress.
You watch a lot of film, I'd imagine, right?
Sure.
When you look at TJ, what impresses you the most? What's his greatest strength right now?
His confidence in his style. He's real confident. He's real good at setting his pace and maintaining kicking range. He doesn't spend too much in that boxing range, and he's just real comfortable in there. And it's very impressive to see, considering his shot at the title came more of I think somebody fell out of that fight or something, and he was the one that got picked to jump in there.
Yep.
And he went into that fight super confident.
Between the 2 Brow fights, which performance did you like better from his perspective?
I think the first one.
Why is that?
I think it proved what we already knew about Barao, that he's that dictating the pace on him and making him feint and miss was going to take him off his game, and it was just super impressive that he was able to implement it. I think the second time around was literally not even at the same level anymore.
Right.
It's just he just had his number. So it was I don't even think it was a justified rematch. So
I think
I didn't see what the point was of making that rematch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you. So on the flip side, can you pinpoint the biggest holes in his game right now?
At the end of the day, this fight comes down to what Dominick wants. It literally comes down to Dominick going in there and saying, "This is my belt and I want it back." I could sit here and give you every hole we've gone over, every specific rhythm, every specific technique we're looking for. But at the end of the day, the mindset that Dominick has is what wins him this fight.
So what is that mindset? Because it felt like against Mizugaki, he was like a bat out of hell. He was a man possessed. We had not seen that out of him, that kind of aggression out of him. Is it the same this time around? Have things changed a little bit? Like, how would you describe where he's at 6 days before the fight?
I would say he's back to his WEC days, mentally wise. He's focused. I mean, he's focused. He knows what he has to do. This is not an easy opponent by any means, but it's nothing that he hasn't seen before. And the thing about predictions and the thing about oh, I'm going to do this to Dominick, I'm going to do that to Dominick. It's everybody says the same thing, and Dominick has a gift, not a Coach Eric taught him this. He has a gift that he makes adjustments in a fight by himself. Now, sure, there's 4 coaches in the corner yelling shit, but he's in there making adjustments. He's in there making reads, and he does it with everybody. And I can change sparring partners every minute in a round, and within 10 to 30 seconds, he's already adjusted to the guy. So, literally it comes down to Dominick showing up, adjusting, and just getting after it. I mean, he's gifted for sure.
Do you have any idea how many rounds he sparred for this fight?
Oh, man, I have no clue. We put in quite a bit.
Yeah.
we put in quite a bit. I mean, honestly, we used to do two days a week of sparring. I think for this camp we picked up about 3 days a week, a couple of times.
Oh wow!
And a lot of drilling. Yeah, it was. We had a little crash course at the beginning just to make sure we were dialed into that, making sure he's adjusting within the first few minutes of that round. So like I said, he's doing great. He's doing great. He's healthy, and I mean that's all we could ask for.
Did you bring in anyone different, anyone new to simulate TJ's style?
No, I mean we have guys coming in and out of camp.
Yeah.
Nonstop. So there's no, like I said, the hardest thing with people with TJ's style is not necessarily somebody that can emulate it. It's more how fast you can adjust to it.
Okay.
You know, it's because they fight off rhythm. They fight off rhythm. They drag you out. They try to load you on your lead leg. So it's more understanding what he's doing, reading it, and don't get overzealous. You know, just stay composed and work.
By the way, Dominick has. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Dominick has received a ton of praise for his analyst work, and he got a shot to be on Fox not that long ago. I had the opportunity to sit next to him for the entirety of UFC 192, and it was just what an honor and pleasure it was to just listen to the way he breaks things down and sees things from a complete different perspective, a lot smarter than I'll ever be as far as MMA is concerned. Did you know he had that in him? Like, I know this wasn't necessarily a job when you guys were starting out, but did you think, like, this guy is a brilliant mind, he could do this on TV like some of the greats? Did you know that, or is this a revelation to you as well?
No, I mean, we've always brainstormed fights. He's always helped me game plan for other guys here in the camp. So he's always been a wealth of knowledge, and there's other guys in the camp that I use as well. I think it took him a little bit to get adjusted to the cameras, you know, but I thought he's definitely, he's got a different IQ for sure for fighting, and he knows how to break it down, and we sit here and brainstorm fights all the time. So, no, I knew he had it. I just didn't know he was going to shine on TV like that. But, I mean, it's expected. You could put Dominick in any situation. Like I said, he's got a very obsessive mind that likes to succeed at anything he does.
Yeah, he actually told me that the only person he likes watching fights with is you, because you're on the same level as him. Like everyone else, he kind of has to dumb himself down to. Obviously, so I don't know if the feeling is mutual there. It might be an intense thing to watch him because he's moving all around. He's talking. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we brainstorm fights all the time, and we sit there and just toss around ideas. Sometimes I just listen.
Yeah.
I just listen to see what he's reading and see if I'm seeing the same things or not.
Do you think he can become a great coach as well?
Oh, for sure. I think everybody has it in him, and I think he's a great leader, and that's one of the assets that he brings over as a coach.
Do you foresee that happening at Alliance, that he becomes a coach once this whole journey is done?
I don't know. I mean, that's up to him. He writes his own story. You know, I think he he helps out now as a member of the team, but I think he's got his own career path of what he wants to do, and I think when he gets to that point, he'll figure it out.
Okay, so let's put a bow on this. You've been around this game a long time. You've been in very big fights before, but if your friend and student and fighter gets that belt put on his waist after this insane journey, I mean, it's almost unimaginable what he's had to overcome. Do you have any idea how you will react to that? Do you think that the emotions then will be greater than anything you've ever felt?
Oh man, I don't know. It for sure it'll be intense. It'll be awesome. It'll be an awesome situation for sure. I couldn't tell you how I'm going to react or how I should expect to react.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that journey, and I hope everything works out for us.
What about the cold? Are you looking forward to that as well in Boston?
Not at all, man. We're in San Diego, California. I don't even own a cold weather jacket.
Oh my! What are you going to do about that?
No, that's actually what I was going to go do today. Try to find a jacket and some gloves. I don't even own gloves.
As a New Yorker, I'm happy this is happening on the East Coast, but I kind of feel like two Californians should be fighting in the state of California. It's a little strange that it's in Boston. Don't you agree?
I agree. I would like nothing better than to have it here.
Final thing, I know we talked about predictions, and it's kind of hard and all, but do you see? Does something keep coming up in your mind? How this is all going to go down? Do you actually envision it?
No.
Nothing.
No. I look at the whole fight. I look at a big picture, and then we look at specifics of every round. So whether it goes 1 round or whether it goes 5 rounds, there's a specific game plan for us, and we're just hoping we can execute.
All right. I can't wait. The world can't wait. The MMA world can't wait. It's going to be amazing. This Sunday in Boston, Dominick Cruz versus TJ Dillashaw for the undisputed UFC bantamweight title. Eric, best of luck to you and the team. Thank you so much for the time and safe travels. And good luck with that cold in Boston. It is frigid, by the way. It's unlike anything you've ever felt.
Thank you, Ariel. Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
All right. There he is. Eric Del Fierro, the head coach over at Alliance MMA in Chula Vista, California, where it is a lot warmer than it is here on the Northeast coast of the United States. So good luck to him and the team. I just cannot wait. The more I think about this fight, the more excited I get.